Hello, MPS. It's your girl, Bernice Washington, aka Wellness Queen. This week, we are talking about how we can personally blossom by sowing our own little seeds of compassion, accountability, and patience. It's spring, but it also is our time to shine. So let's get into it. So let's talk about one of the seeds, which is self-compassion. Self-compassion really is one's ability to see their own humanity and have self-empathy. Recognize that, we are flawed individuals, but we also aren't the totality of all the bad things we've done, nor all the good things we've done. Self-compassion allows us to understand that this is where we're at, and it may not be great, or it may be, but there's always room to improve, or we don't have to improve. And so self-compassion is flexibility in the mind. A cognitive distortion is thinking that something has to be this or that, when really there are many truths. And self-compassion kind of allows us to have that flexibility with ourselves. When we are rigid with ourselves, it makes it so we don't have too many options. But self-compassion empowers us and supports our mental health for many reasons. But the main one is it serves as a great anchor for us treating ourselves with self-respect and understanding our self-worth. An additional seed, patience, right? When we think of patience, let's think of it in a couple of ways. Patience is important concerning self, right? I know a lot of us hold ourselves to high standards and have high expectations for ourselves, which I think is fantastic. However, I think sometimes due to wanting to have certain results, some of us are not as patient with ourselves, constantly wanting to get to the next thing without recognizing the power in having a journey to begin with in order to get to your end result. Patience allows us to be mindful so that we're present. Patience allows us to look at the big picture. We can get kind of caught up in looking at this myopic, and I apologize if I mispronounced that, child, but you know what I'm saying, and this kind of small, narrow view of what's going on. But patience kind of allows us to see the big picture of something. Patience with self kind of allows us to be patient with other people. Do you find yourself sometimes just being like, hurry up everybody, everyone's rushing, but think about the voice in your head that's telling you that you have to rush, and imagine what that sounds like or feels like to somebody else. Patience is a power. We haven't been taught that. It's always been taught to go, but the ability to kind of stand still or slow down in order to do something effectively and thoroughly, there's power in that, and we deserve. And our final seed is accountability. We've gone through this topic a couple of times, right? It really is about you kind of holding yourself responsible to following through with tasks or goals that you say that you want to do. Accountability can feel harsh sometimes, and so it's important to, when we have our internal dialogue or when you're holding someone else accountable, to be thoughtful of your tone, right? If your goal is to punish, right, your tone might be a bit harsh. If your goal is to kind of remind someone of what their task is, or remind yourself of something that you said you wanted to do, you want to be thoughtful and explicit, but that does not mean that you are lacking compassion. Accountability is an important seed for us to kind of blossom because it allows us to demonstrate sometimes self-respect. I love myself enough to do this thing, or I love someone enough to remind you to do this thing. So accountability is always helpful. All right, so we've got a little bit of seeds in our little satchel. Okay, we've got accountability, compassion, and patience. We have many seeds to utilize, but these three are really great starting points for us supporting our mental health and pursuing our personal and professional goals. So we love that for us. And that's it for me. Thanks, everybody.